Hey guys, welcome to this video. So today's video, we're talking about home sales and the statistics that have just been released for July here in Calgary, all about the housing market and what that means going forward. So without further ado, guys, let's jump right into this. So guys, I just want to say the national statistics should come out in the middle of this month, and then I'll review them here on this channel and we can talk about them. And I'm pretty much thinking that they're going to be very similar story to what we're seeing in the statistics here. Now, yes, I got a script because I need to be precise with my numbers here. I don't want to give any misleading stuff. So basically, the average price declined again month on month, but it slowed. So we're seeing that average price decline slowing. Now, you have to bear in mind that typically during the summer months, prices actually go up, not down. So that's kind of a weird trend to have anyway. As you'll see with these statistics, you're going to find out why that's happening. So typically, by the way, May, June, July, August are the busiest month. 40% of all home sales are done during those months. So just bear that in mind when I'm reading these statistics. So basically, July sales dipped 28% month over month. So 28% decline in sales is pretty substantial. Now, it's normal to see a decline in sales throughout the summer months. July and August, though, are generally the same. So it will be interesting to see August statistics for this month in September and see what that's like. But to see that much of a decline, I mean, usually it declines about 8 to 12% when I looked historically, but never 28%. And the other thing with that, days on market is up 8 days, which is 25%. Since the May lows. So the May was when the days on market was at 32 days. It's now gone up to 40, and sales are in full decline. And we're now actually getting real close to normal levels of sales for a normal market. I mean, sales done in July was 2,319 sales. Normally, typically in July, Calgary is getting around 2,100 sales. So it's not really that bad. When you think about it, the market is just, you can tell it's slowing right down. Inventory levels are still low, especially for detached homes. And detached homes are still edging up in price because of that inventory pressure. But average price across the board is declining. The thing is that you have to look at is the sales numbers. That is the most important thing. This is not the crash. This is nothing. A decline of price of 4.38% since May is really just operating with a normal range. It is a little bit weird, but with the slowing in sales, it makes total sense. Do I think that price could possibly edge upwards slightly? Absolutely. Going into the later months of this year, depending on how much sales continue to fall, will depend on where the prices go. I think the pricing pressure is easing now, so you are seeing more price declines and stuff like that. Less bidding wars. People are still stupid. You're still going to get people who come from other provinces. That doesn't mean they're smart. I think it's really stupid in this market if you've got into a bidding war and you've paid over ask. I think that's really dumb because it's just a weakening market. The market is weakening, and that's something you have to bear in mind. So, and I just want to touch on a point here. Do you remember in April and May when home sales were booming, and also in March when all these realtors, all these news articles were coming out and saying it's never going to stop, the low interest rates, it's going to be forever. Well, guess what? It is weakening and it is stopping. And I'll tell you exactly why that happens. It's more to do with the cyclical nature of when you have cycles like this, bubble cycles. And this bubble that we have now is getting more and more delicate. It's not popped or anything like that, but it's definitely getting more and more delicate. But let's talk about this cycle. So just think about it. Even if you don't believe that there's going to be a real estate crash or whatever, you have to believe that prices are going to correct themselves. And this is the reason why. You have basically an artificial bubble that has happened because of low inventory and high demand because of low interest rates and people wanting to move for space, okay? Or whatever, it is. Millennials being first-time buyers, whatever you want to put on it, none of them are probably wrong, and they do explain some of the reason for the high demand. But the main reason is low interest rates, because when there's low interest rates, we always see high demand in real estate. You just have to go back historically. And historically, it's worth noting, it's normally a terrible time to actually buy. But most people think it's a good thing because they're just looking at the amount of interest they're paying, because they don't want to be paying that to the bank versus the actual prices, which are like way inflated. So buying during low interest rates is generally not a good idea. And generally, when there's high prices, high demand and everything like that, you get tons of speculation, especially in markets like Canada that are so speculative and also have had such a run. But we'll get back to this cycle. So let's say you have 50,000 buyers, okay? And then you have 50,000 sellers, and that's over a 5-year period. So that's 10,000 per year that you have. So if in 1 year you only get 5,000 sellers, but you get 20,000 buyers, and they eat up all that inventory, that literally means that you've borrowed buyers from the future. You've borrowed demand from the future. And part of the things that are attributed to that are stuff like the FOMO and everything that comes with rising home prices, and also the emotional state that most people have been in due to the pandemic. So think of it like this. If you've got this cycle and then you've got this low supply, but the supply is still there waiting, there are tons of people who want to downsize and retire. And I can tell you, as soon as interest rates go up and prices start to decline quite drastically, you're going to see in the single family home segment a lot of inventory come into market. Inventory that's after actually small, low-rise stuff, and you're going to see that demand shift because, quite frankly, loads of people are also retiring, and this is something that hasn't been covered. We've had, obviously, the millennials are coming in, but we haven't had, and you will see this in the media later down the road, but for right now, that is something that you have to bear in mind. There is always supply waiting there. So you've seen that limited supply because of the pandemic. People don't want to put their homes on the market, whatever it is. And you've seen that increased demand because of the pandemic, the emotional, all the rest of it, all things there. And that has created an artificial bubble. It's an artificial bubble. Even if you don't believe there's going to be a crash, you have to believe that prices are going to decline, because eventually buyers are going to be exhausted and sellers are going to step up. Now, I think that changeover will happen next spring. Markets typically not much activity in the winter. We're coming up to the last couple of months of good activity, which is August, September, October. After that, it's typically null, and August and September are typically the last hot months. So I don't believe you're going to see any major decline in prices or anything like that that's going to happen immediately. But come flip to next year, you're going to see a hell of a lot of change in the market dynamics. And the thing you need to realize about next year in the market is interest rates are going to go up. And we don't know how much yet, but we're speculating that it's going to be quite a drastic increase. And that's if it doesn't happen before then, because inflation is rising out of control. We've seen the Bank of Canada, manipulate the basket to make it seem like it's lower than it actually is, and it's not. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is the Calgary market. However, I'm thinking the national picture is going to be very similar to this. But when we get those stats that come out in the middle of the month, we'll take a look at them and dig deep into them. So anyway, guys, without further ado, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I will see you in the next video. Peace and love. Bye.